Hi, and welcome back to the Save It for Parts channel. If you followed this channel for a while, you may have seen some of my experiments with old satellite dishes, including radio telescopes and free-to-air satellite TV. Well, today I've picked up something kind of interesting. It's an RV satellite dome, and this is the thing that you'd plop on top of your motorhome or a truck or something else where you want a mobile, auto-aiming satellite dish. The entire thing smells like it's been inside of a smoker's lungs for the last 30 years, so it's definitely not in brand new condition. But we're going to give it a quick clean off, and then we're going to open it up and see what's inside one of these things. Alright, so that's kind of cool. There's the little baby satellite dish and the LNB, and then some rotation and elevation mechanisms, and the brains of the operation here. So now that we've got this thing opened up, let's see if it works. We basically just have one control here. We have off or on search. Alright, I pulled out the box of satellite experiment junk. I've got my little baby receiver. I don't know if that thing will actually work with our generic no-name receiver here, or if it's expecting a legitimate one, but we can at least try this one. We've got our cheap little receiver there, supplying power to the LNB, and it seems like the dish system appreciates that because our status light is flashing green now instead of green and orange. We've still got some random lights happening back here. I think it's still initializing or doing a self-test. Now that it's had time to start up, let's see if search mode works. Okay, so that honestly looks pretty awesome. This has some pretty cool electronics in it, some pretty cool stepper motors, and its little search mode is kind of neat, where it just scans back and forth, it changes elevation each time, goes around. That would be really cool to implement with some kind of visualization software where I could map the signal strength on a given frequency to the position of the dish. I don't know if I'll be able to do that. That might be a little more programming than I can do, but this definitely has some possibilities. As you can see, here at the Save It for Parts channel, we use only the highest and finest quality parts in all of our operations. Currently, we have our auction dish, we have someone else's cast-off laptop, and we have commercial-grade milk crates as our mount. We are feeding our LNB power out of our little cheapo box here. We're feeding the auxiliary signal into our software-defined radio dongle, and we're observing it here on GQRX to see what is the dish outputting from that LNB. So it's picking something up over here. I think it's trying to fine-tune now. Alright, the dish has stopped moving, so it seems like it's locked on. And our SDR is definitely reading a very strong signal here. Alright, let's see if we can find a different satellite now. Alright, this time it's narrowing in on something a little different, transmitting on a slightly different frequency. Well, so far we've established that this thing works as a satellite dish, which is frankly not all that interesting. The thing that I'm interested in the most is the ability to pan and tilt and all the stepper motors and stuff in here. So rather than have that little automated satellite finder feature, I'd like to see if I can interface with this potentially serial port here. So as you saw, the dome here only came with a single button controller that basically does on/search and off. And I happen to remember that one of the Axeman locations had some Kingdome controllers and just a random box in the back, because of course they do. Axeman has everything. So I went over to Axeman, found some other random stuff, don't know what it is, but it looks cool, so it's coming home with me. Couldn't find the Kingdome controllers. Finally talked to one of the employees who happened to remember the exact little dingus I was looking for and said, oh yeah, those, we're trying to throw those away there up front in the free bin. So I dug through the free bin, ended up bringing home a whole bunch of these things. We've got the Kingdome model and the ViewCube model, which I think are the exact same thing. They both have the phone jack output, and this one has an extra button. So in addition to on-off search, I can also do triangle and circle, whatever that means. Mainly I just wanted extra ones so I can take these apart, solder them, cut them up, experiment with them, and if and when I break one, well, I've got plenty of extras. So halfway through making the video on this Kingdome thing, another satellite antenna came up for auction. So I bought that too. This one is a dish tailgater. It's a little bit smaller package. It is made by King Controls, so I think it's related to the Kingdome. I think it's the same company. Let's open this one and see what's in it. Oh, that's cool. So this Tailgater is actually a lot cooler looking than that King Dome. That one just looked like a baby rooftop dish inside a dome. This one actually looks like something from space. That is neat. Very interesting L&B here. It's kind of this slimline L&B thing that pops through and has a reflector in the middle. So I don't know what the surface area is compared to that other one, but really neat. So it actually has a little tilt sensor in here rather than just the limit switches that the other one had. Can't tell if these are stepper motors or just regular motors. And then this one actually has a USB input on it, so I'm pretty sure this thing is newer than the other one. Now, as far as external interfaces, there's just that TV jack. So it looks like all of the power, the tilt or aiming commands, and the TV signal are all shared by that one jack. So it might be a little harder to interface with that without having an actual dish receiver. But thanks to the magic of the internet, we now have this thing. It's a little handheld, all-in-one satellite finder, receiver, decoder, and TV. And it costs less than 50 bucks. So this little thing looks pretty fun. It can output 13 volt or 18 volt to the L&B, so we can do horizontal or vertical polarity. It'll do installation setup, it'll do a little spectrum analyzer, all kinds of fun stuff. Okay, so I could not get the little receiver box to move this antenna with any of the satellite motor standards that it comes with. So apparently Dish uses something non-standard. So even though the Tailgater is a little newer and looks cooler, I can't really do anything with it if it doesn't respond to the industry standards for dish positioning. All right, we'll try one of these remote controls we got for free from Axeman. All right, I'm trying to watch the frequency counter as this pans around, although the little meter always defaults back to Bulgaria sat. I don't quite know how to change that default setting yet. We are definitely getting some stuff on the meter for this one, and our little receiver is scanning the transponders. And as expected, these are all dish channels, so they are all pay channels. So we're not actually going to be able to see anything on this satellite. And apparently there is a sequence of on and triangle and circle that you can plug in to get this to point at different satellites. Now I probably can't point it directly at a free-to-air satellite without the next level up from this remote, the diagnostic keypad. Those cost a few $100s and don't seem to be available online much. So I don't actually know what to do with these dishes at the moment. I'm not really interested in watching TV, so I'm not going to get a dish account. They're not big enough for free-to-air TV, and they're definitely not big enough for geostationary weather satellites. It's possible I could retrofit them with some kind of other antenna and use the tracking system to track a low Earth orbit satellite, or I could do something like tracking Wi-Fi. I'm open to other suggestions. If anybody out there knows what I could do with these or knows how I could modify them for something like a radio telescope or other satellite applications, other ham radio applications, I'm all ears. I have some Raspberry Pi experience, I have a little bit of programming experience, but I I cheat my way through most of my programming and crib it off of other people's stuff that I find online. So if anybody out there wants to help out or has an idea, throw it in the comments. I'll read through those. I will definitely respond to any that look interesting, and we might even see that in a future video. For now, this has just been kind of a first look and tear down of these little dish things, and just an attempt to get myself familiar with them and get some ideas for what to do in the future. You can check out some of my other videos for experiments with a full-size dish and a pan-tilt zoom mount. And then I do have a bigger C-band dish outside, so we're going to set that up at some point. Stay tuned for that. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. Of course, I have all my other videos, like the potato cannon tank here, and the airboat, and all this other junk in my garage, so check those out as well. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.